Hi there, hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another video. Here's the newest episode of shoes to avoid right now. I try to do this only once a year. I still believe each sneaker has its own group of consumers that it caters to. So it comes down to our individual preferences, body mass, relationship status, foot shapes and all that. But at the end of the day, there are always going to be ones that we do not enjoy playing in. So it's time to talk about basketball shoes to not buy. And most importantly, please let me explain why or who should avoid them. Hopefully that gives you a good reference point at least. Something positive before we begin. Kinetic Kings just had a restock as well as some new releases. For on-court and off-court, they've been my go-to brand. A lot of great styles to choose from for their fundamental shorts. Very breathable, and their active shorts are more heavyweight. Top-notch quality and design. It is short season, so a lot of their pieces actually sell out fast. Some of those darker color tones that I've been waiting for, man, they were gone quick once they got loaded onto the website again. So head over to the Kinetic site to shop if you're interested. Link will be in the description, and don't forget to use my discount code at checkout. All right, the first shoe to not get, let's start with a hot take. I say that because I've seen overwhelmingly positive reviews only, but there's a pretty notable problem that I just have to point out, and that is the Biospeed BB from 361 Degrees. Yeah, coming from arguably the hottest brand right now, I know. This is just a hella bouncy, but hella unstable shoe. What I mean is that it's hard for my feet to stay securely inside. Lateral movements feel shaky, also not ideal for flat footers in terms of containment. The midsole is really elevated, not much core feel at all, while you'll probably struggle to keep your balance. This is a pretty obvious issue. Like, the shoe just reminds me of one of those wobbly toys on feet. Now let's say you're super fast, shifty, and explosive. Your speed might be able to offset it, so you don't feel it as much. But I'm pretty sure anybody could notice this. So stability is his biggest problem. Otherwise, pretty much all good. But it's priced at $170 for those in the US. They're expensive. Their Joker 1 GT, Team Joker, Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, and the new 6.0 AG5, these are all better options in my opinion. Like, the Team Joker is less than $120. If you really want something that feels similar to the Biospeed, the Shadow 6 and Shadow 6 V2 from Wave, almost identical, $50 cheaper. Also, I don't know why 361 has to put such long laces on their shoes, but that's just a small complaint. Second shoe, I'd recommend that you avoid the Zion 4, especially if you normally play on dusty courts. And that's because the traction performance against dust is meh. I feel slippery occasionally. Planting my feet on a hard pivot, that's iffy sometimes. You don't want to have your foot turn like 180 degrees off of the forefoot, right? The translucent outsole picks up a lot of dust, and it's really hard to wipe off once dust accumulates on the bottom. All the colorways that I've seen so far come in a translucent outsole. So that's a little unfortunate because the shoe looks great to me. Colorways are dope. Some improvements and adjustments were made compared to the Zion 3. They became wider in the midfoot. You get a smoother transition, but also the Cushion 3.0 drop-in midsole, that didn't provide any additional boost or comfort. It's the full-length zoom strobo underneath that does all the work cushion-wise. Another way to look at it, from Jordan brand, I think their best shoe is the Luka 4 right now. Traction should really be a basic requirement, so this one's pretty straightforward. Okay, here's one that we talked about before. They're still bringing out more colorways, some amazing colorways, and that is the Adidas AE 1 Low. I tried on some of the newer releases in store. Same thing really. Cushion is a notable downgrade from the regular AE 1. A lot of heel slippage, so sizing down is a must if you were to ask me. The low is still very heavy, over 500 grams for US 10.5, almost 500 grams for size 10. One of the heaviest, least flexible low tops out there on the market. Yeah, the deal breaker is still the sizing and lockdown issue. It is so long and loose around the ankle that I just couldn't play basketball in it. I'm also not getting the type of cushion or compression from the regular AE1. I know many others who also consider it unusable, but I see plenty of people playing in them at the same time. So that goes to show that they must work for some, putting aside the endowment effect. Like all of these other ones on the list, I could still play in them. The AE1 Low, there's just nothing I can do about it to make it work. And I'm really not a picky eater. Another shoe that I think you might as well pass on, at least at regular price, is the Puma MB.04. A few reasons for this one. Cushion is not that nice. Their nitro foam saw the best implementation on the All-Pro Nitro, or even MB1 and MB2 in the past. The 4 feels pretty clunky on feet, not very soft or responsive underneath. Plus, the materials aren't very conforming either. Traction is also below industry average in today's standard, a little bit inconsistent, and altogether is quite heavy as well. If you're a fast-paced guard type of player and you're looking for something lightweight and agile, the MB.04 is more of a negative than a boost. I'm not going to comment too much on the design. I'll let you be the judge on that. Just keep in mind that cushion is subpar, traction is average at best, barely gets a pass. Maybe the most important takeaway, as usual, when it comes to Puma basketball shoes, you gotta go for their translucent outsole instead of solid rubber. Does the MB.04 ever come in a translucent outsole? That's the question. It has reached the brick status, in my opinion. But if it's for a fantastic deal and you get a colorway, a flashy colorway that you like, that's not too bad. Now, perhaps the biggest name on this list, the Gammas. Supposedly a god tier performer as they advertise it. I didn't ever think it was worth that crazy price. Let's do something different. Look at the strength of the Gamma. Extremely lightweight. Yes, but they did make an even lighter shoe, the Ultralight 2025, that fits wider, causes less pinching, and is more user-friendly in general. Super bouncy, yes, but they also have the Li-Ning 5. That, to me, is the bounciest low-top shoe out there. Your feet are just loaded onto a jump plate. Carbon core drive system, a top-tier cushioning setup, yes. But for that high of a price and expectation, you can get the JB3 that has a more protective outer shell. It also lasts longer. Gammas, to me, aren't great for white footers. I experienced some discomfort around the corners, partly due to the material folding. The sticky boom insoles, similar to the Shadow 5 and Shadow 5 V2, I hate how my socks just get stuck onto it when I move around in the shoe. And lastly, durability isn't the best. Prone to sole separation, some parts can rub off easily. That foam is also exposed to a great extent. So yeah, I just think there are alternatives that are good enough across the board. So you don't have to drop a bag on the Gammas. It's really not that impressive to me. The JB3, on the other hand, is that impressive as a complete all-around performer, speaking from my time in them. So that about concludes it for the 5 hoop shoes to avoid right now. I'm not calling them bad, but just be aware of their potential downsides. Biospeed BB, very unstable. Zion 4, poor traction on dust. AE1 low, still unusable to me. Puma MB.04 is kind of a brick. And then the Gammas, I just think in each aspect it excels at, we the consumers can find an easier to use, more affordable option. If I could mention some more, the Skechers that Julius Randle has been wearing, the Rigor BP1, the Brandon Podziemski shoe, only $90 as a signature sneaker, but the quality is really not there. My pink pair, the color was dying onto my socks from the insole and plasticky upper. I don't know if anybody else had this, could be just me being unlucky. LeBron 22, that's kind of a regression given how nice the 20 and 21 have been. Back to being bulky and heavy again. Traction and cushion are excellent. I just didn't feel like the midsole saddle part was very comfortable in the long term. It's super stiff and rigid. Great stability provided, yes, but that's a small turnoff if you prioritize comfort. Anyways, here comes the key part. That was all based on my experience. I'd love to know what you think about these ones we talked about today. Did you have a similar or very different experience? Or is there a shoe that you really didn't like recently? Feel free to share with us in the comments so we can all be aware. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next one.